Welcome back, guys. If you didn't hear the news recently, in the last 24 hours, you've heard about how Live Golf is going to be going to Adelaide. This is the first formal announcement of an event for the next season for them. This is going to be pretty big, but that comes on the back of what I like to call the best time of the year in any type of sports that actually has no competition, which is silly season. Silly season, by the way, is where you start hearing all the dumbass rumors that start popping out about, oh, this person's doing this, or this person's going to this team, or this person's going to Michael Jordan's, estate or whatever. And we never had that in golf before, and so it's really fun to see that right now, where we're starting to figure out what silly season looks like for golf. Recently, one of the biggest ones we've been hearing a lot of stuff about has been actually Xander Schauffele, about how, oh, he's doing this, oh, he's doing that, oh, him and Patrick Cantlay are going to come over here and do this or that or the other. And I love it because it's silly season. That's literally what it is. It's where all these rumors come out that have no actual journalistic integrity at all. Nobody's naming any sources. Everyone's just saying whatever the heck they feel like saying that sounds decent at that point in time. The cool thing is, though, is we have to ask ourselves some serious questions. We know Live Golf is expanding their roster, their on-site roster or on-official roster, from by at least 12 players this next season. Reason being, they're adding a fifth man to every single roster. Not that the fifth man will be playing at the events, but the fifth man will be on the roster, probably on location as a substitute in case of Kevin Na, coming down with food poisoning. Brandon Grace injuring himself and not actually playing, and there's nobody anywhere nearby that's of anywhere near the level of skill that Brandon Grace is. Heinrich Stenson 5 minutes before tee time getting symptoms of vertigo and having to withdraw from the tournament. Live Golf didn't quite have everything figured out for those particular situations this past season, and so now we have to get and figure out what does this look like with the next season. Obviously, the rosters, some of them were really good. Some of them were a little rough. I mean, we have obviously some great top name talent in, Cameron Smith, Dustin Johnson, Sergio Garcia. Many of the other guys that are out there are top level talent. And some of the teams are obviously, as you know, really well formed. But who are the next guys coming over? Who are the guys that are going to be joining the tour pretty soon to be that next level of talent, that next level of influx of interesting conversation to add to every single event? So let's break it down and show you something really important here. I said this back in the day, but there was a lot of talk about Jon Rahm coming over. I personally don't think this will happen. Jon Rahm, people go, oh, well, he's a disciple of Sergio. He loves Sergio. He'll go anywhere with Sergio. Will he? You got to remember, Jon Rahm, yes, is a top-tier Spaniard, but Sergio Garcia is kind of the, I guess you could say, the patron saint for golf right now amongst active players. Sadly, Olazabal and Jimenez really don't have that same type of influence they used to have, and rest in peace, Seve. But at the same time, Jon Rahm, he's been very critical of the new PGA Tour situation that's forcing the players to play 20 events on the PGA Tour in order to qualify or hold this higher status with the tour. They've explained it, but it's a little wonky, where the tour basically is forcing their top players, their top 20 players, to be at 20 events, which is hilarious that they're doing this, because if you notice, Tiger Woods, greatest golfer of our generation, greatest golfer of the past, only a handful of guys can be in the conversation with him of greatest golfer of all time. But Tiger Woods, he only played 20 events on the PGA Tour in a year, I think twice in his whole entire career. I think his average season was about 15 to 16 events. So, obviously he would do maybe something here on a different tour, or do his own private event, the Hero World Challenge, or some charity event, or a skins game. But the point is that the greatest golfer of the past, 30 years never really would have made this 20 event requirement, and now play, and that's something that Jon Rahm, who is a golfer who's actually pretty loyal to the DP World Tour, the European Tour, hasn't been very excited about. So that's where a lot of the rumors have been coming on about. I personally don't see this happening. I just don't think that I think that Live Golf has the captains that they want to have in place right now overall, with really only a couple of those being questionable about what's going on. I do see potential expansion of teams coming in the future, but I don't see Rahm coming over. I just don't see anybody who is really, really, really like close to him. And by comparison, while there's Jon Rahm who doesn't have anyone really close to him, Mito Pereira does have somebody really close to him. If you guys don't remember Mito Pereira, he was literally one hole away from winning the PGA Championship this past year at Southern Hills, but he decided to shank hook a drive on the 18th hole and end up losing it, to where boom, bada boom, Justin Thomas ended up getting it. Now, this was a huge meltdown for Mito Pereira in so many different ways. One, it really, really weakened his. I mean, if he had won this, he'd already be on Live Golf, because Live Golf would have offered him so much more money. But yeah, just ugly like my ex-wife on this swing right here. We all remember that. It was a huge meltdown. It hurt my soul in so many different ways. But Mito Pereira, if you guys don't remember, and they'll actually show him in the background, he's Joaquin Niemann's traveling roommate, or has been for the past few years. Like, here's Niemann. Literally, they're showing Pereira on the last hole after a snap hook drive when he has one shot left, and they're showing Joaquin Niemann, who is literally his bestie. They're both from Chile, if you guys don't remember. They're both young players. They're both guys who have been coming up on the PGA Tour in the past few years and are now where they're at, where Niemann's actually making, great financial strides on Live. Mito has gone to be a President's Cup player. Now, honestly, once Joaquin Niemann signed on, I knew that Mito Pereira, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Because Mito Pereira and him have literally been roommates for the past few years. This is the same exact situation as Brooks Koepka and Peter Uihlein, where they're literally traveling buddies. And that's one thing I laughed about with Live Golf, is that Live Golf, you knew they were going to get Brooks because they were positioning themselves so well to get Brooks. They picked up Chase, they picked up Peter, two guys who really had no business being in that conversation, but were in that conversation purely because they gave them better access to Brooks Koepka. So, in that respect, Mito Pereira, he honestly, I think we saw him last week at a charity event with Sergio Garcia, a charity event that was pretty much only showcasing Live Golf players and Mito Pereira. Mito Pereira is joining Torque GC. Okay, we don't know. It's not been officially announced, but I have zero belief to think that Mito Pereira doesn't take this opportunity and join Live Golf. I believe he stayed with the PGA Tour a little bit longer solely because he wanted to get a President's Cup under his belt. Joaquin Niemann played in the President's Cup in 2019. Mito Pereira did not. It's okay. We don't hold it against him. He is joining Live Golf. It's not official yet, but if there's any person in this world that I'd be sure of, it's Mito Pereira. So just keep that in mind. Ultimately, though, if you're wondering who and where will be the next person to join Live Golf, though, outside of these two, you have to look at this particular event's leaderboard. I will link it in the description. I've been talking about this event for quite a long time. This event was the event in Jeddah at the same exact golf course they played the Live Golf Saudi Arabia event recently, where Brooks Koepka won. This is that same exact golf course. This tournament was held earlier this year in February. So you got to understand, this event happened. This event was exactly one of the events right before all the fun started happening. And this event has been very accurate for pointing out who actually is joining Live Golf. And you may ask, well, how is that? One of the main arguments against Live Golf is, they're backed by the Saudis. The Saudis are mean. The Saudis are evil. Like every government in the world isn't evil. But anyway, so the point is, though, when you look at this event's actually on Saudi Arabian soil this year. The talks about the Live Golf stuff were already going on, about what could happen, what would happen. And this event happened on Saudi Arabian soil this year. And so, This event's leaderboard showcases to you and the world who is comfortable playing on Saudi Arabian soil for Saudi Arabian money. That's a pretty big ding, ding, ding about who you should look at for possibly joining Live Golf. If they're not going to join Live Golf, that's okay. I'm not saying they have to, but I'm saying these people on this list are somebody who is at least comfortable being involved with Saudi Arabia. So if you look at it, let's just count the number of active Live Golf players or people who have played in a Live Golf event that are on this leaderboard. Harold Varner III, Bubba Watson, Cameron Smith, Matthew Wolff, Pablo Larrazabal, who played in the very first event, Abraham Anser, Joaquin Neiman, Ryo Kinoshita, Ryozuki Kinoshita. I believe he played in the first 3 events for the Japanese version of Torque before they got completely wiped and they threw the Japanese guys away for whatever reason. I don't fully know the story. Dustin Johnson. Are you starting to pick up a pattern here? Heinrich Stenson. What? Phil Mickelson. Wade Ormsby. Lee Westwood. Sergio Garcia. Justin Harding played in the first 3 events. Paul Casey. Mark Leishman. You're seeing these guys, right? You are physically seeing these guys. We have, Kevin Na, Prachara Kongwat Mai, Laurie Cantor, Patrick Reed. We see Jason Kokorak. We see Ian Poulter, Saddam Kalkwanjawa, Siwon Kim. I mean, guys, this is literally the roster for Live Golf this past season. Do you not see that? Sam Horsfield. Then we have the guys who missed the cut, but there's still a couple of them in there. Graham McDowell. You have Scott Vincent, Jetta Morgan, Travis Smythe, who played a first few events on different teams. You have Iwata, who played a couple of events, I believe. You have further down this list, you have Shergo Al-Kurdi. And then down at the very bottom, because he withdrew from the event, you have Bryson DeChambeau. The point is, guys, do you see this? This is literally the roster for Live Golf. This is literally the roster for Live Golf. There's only a few players that have real name value in Live Golf that are not on this list right here. There are very few name value players in Live Golf that aren't on this list. So that brings the question: who is still on that list, and what chances are there? So if we look at the list going down, because obviously it's not worthwhile to go and look at Salih Al-Kabe and go, oh, the amateur from Qatar, that guy's definitely going. I mean, I'm sure he would love to, but I just don't see that happening. We're looking for players that have name value and can add something to the team. So again, what we're looking for right now is somebody who has name value, who brings something different to Live Golf's roster, and somebody whom could either A, already has a deep tie to another player, or has the ability to bring further access to a new player. So for instance, if we found out that that Xander Schauffele is like endless bromance love boys with Patrick Cantlay, which, from the Ryder Cup and President's Cup matches, they always talk about Xander Schauffele and Patrick Cantlay are a perfect combo. And that's a lot of the reason why we're seeing Patrick Cantlay join in the rumors for Live Golf right now, because of his friendship with Xander Schauffele as far as like on the field during Ryder Cup and President's Cups. But so unless we have something like that, you really can't have that conversation. So thing is, though, is that Adrianos, I don't know too much about him. I don't see that being a conversation. He never played in any Live Golf event. He really doesn't have much that he would add to anything. Steve Luton, kind of the same way. Maybe he shows up and joins the cliques. The cliques are kind of the least name value roster out there. It's not a big deal one way or the other. It's just not what I'm seeing happening, So if Jonathan Vegas was not older, I would say this would be an interesting pick. If I'm correct on who Jonathan Vegas is, let me just make sure. 1 second. Jonathan Vegas. Yeah, 38 years old, good player. Really hasn't done. He's played a lot of good golf. Doesn't have a university connection to anybody on Live Golf. If we woke up and found out that he was a player for the University of Oklahoma State. By the way, Oklahoma State University has pretty much been the university that we've seen the most players defect from. So like players that have gone to Live Golf. But as you see, Tom Kim is somebody though that you have to pay attention to, because if you look down this leaderboard, you're not going to notice it because it doesn't say Tom Kim. It says his real name. But if you look right here, Joohyun Kim, aka Tom Kim. Tom Kim is somebody who you gotta watch for. He's already played in a event in the past year on Saudi Arabian soil. He is a top high name player. He is a rising star. He just had his event where he got to play on the President's Cup, so there's no longer a President's Cup situation holding him back. And one of his most recent events, the Shriners, he did win. So you gotta understand, this kid has 2 PGA Tour victories, both coming pretty recently. So this is somebody who I really expect Live Golf to go hardcore after, because he's already proven that he will play on Saudi Arabian soil. But more importantly, he's a top player right now. He's hot on the golf circuit right now as far as being a rising star. This is somebody who I really expect Liv, if they were going to offer like some buku money at somebody, Tom Kim is someone they're going to offer buku money to. Why? Because he is from a nation that is not really well represented right now in Live Golf. You got to understand. Do I think Tom Kim right now is a better player than Xander Schauffele or Patrick Cantlay? I think it's a toss-up. However, Patrick Cantlay and Xander Schauffele do not offer a new market of fandom that Tom Kim does. Understand, there is not really a big South Korean name on Live Golf right now. Siwon Kim and Kevin Na are both American by nationality. Forgive me if I have Kevin Na's ancestral origin off, but neither one of them are actually like representing the Korean flag. You know what I'm saying? Even though Siwon Kim was born in Seoul, but Tom Kim is a top tier player, big name right now in golf, big star. If they're going to offer some buku money at somebody, it's going to be Tom Kim. Be on the lookout for Tom Kim getting some buku money. Another player you got to watch out for right now that I think is going to have the conversation is Tommy Fleetwood. Tommy Fleetwood had kind of a couple of weird years. He's somebody who really nobody has anything bad to say about. He's somebody who, like I said, just won a DP World Tour event, and I'm excited for him because of that, because he really has had kind of a lot of up and down kind of play where, you know, he's got the right age, but, you know, he's at that age where, you know, are you going to stay being a good player, or are you going to, you know, all of a sudden awkwardly backslide off? And he's had some decent finishes. Like I said, CJ Cup right here, top 4. Zozo, though, down here at 53. Point is, though, he's playing a lot of golf. He's starting to play better, and he has new teeth. Nobody's talking about it, really, but, yeah, the homeboy fixed his teeth recently and has, like, a new set of dentures or whatever. But anyway, he won his most recent event on the DP World Tour. It wasn't on the PGA Tour where he was playing his most recent event. He was playing the Nedbank, which is, of course, you know, a pretty big pot for a European Tour event. But still, he won that. He's in a prime position to get a decent offer because he's, you know, a current, high-profile English player, still a high-profile player in the world. And like I said, he's already played on soil. Shane Lowry, if Shane Lowry didn't already make a bunch of comments about how he's like, this is for one of the good guys, I would say he'd be part of the conversation, but he's not. The other big name, of course, is Xander Schauffele himself. Yes, Xander was playing in this event. Why Xander didn't come over already, I have no clue. But because of this, I would keep that idea open. Xander Schauffele is going to be hunted. The same as Thomas Pieters. The same as, believe it or not, if he wasn't already over 50, I would definitely say Tong Jai JJD would be somebody I would be watching for. Tony Finau probably would cost way too much money. He's at the peak of his career right now, but Tony Finau also played in this event. Tyrrell Hatton could get a good offer. You don't know though. And then of course the other big one that I would say watch out for. When I say big one, this is somebody who is under your radar, but is somebody you need to watch out for, and that's Jazz. Jazz Jatwanan is of the same nationality as Prachara Kongwatmai and Sam Kalkanjana. And in all honesty, golf in Asia is growing too much, has so many different great players coming out of it, for Live Golf to try to relegate visibility of their Asian players to only 4 guys, 2 of which actually are of American nationality. In a lot of ways, Live Golf has leaned into that nationality identity for a lot of the teams. We have 4 really strong American teams that have formed, and granted, the American teams, one of them does have Anubhav Lahiri on there, but they have the Punch GC, which is the Australian team, the All Aussie team. They have the Majestics, and they have the Cliques, which are European. You have the Stingers, which are boom. They are the South African team. And then, of course, you have the Spanish representation team, which is a mixture of Spanish and Mexican in the Fireballs. Right now, I really would love to see Live Golf lean in really hard and either create a 13th franchise with Kongwatmai, Kalkanjana, and Jazz. And also, in all honesty, I'd love to see them grab Tong Jai JD. Yes, JD is a senior tour age player, but huge name factor, well known in the world of golf, has played on Saudi Arabian soil in the last year. And in all honesty, it'd be really cool to see them lean in and give a franchise to a nationality that isn't always represented in golf, and have a Thailand team. It'd be really cool. That'd be really cool, in my opinion. Now, if I'm wrong, just slap me and say, Jake, you're an idiot. You don't know anything. Which, okay, cool. I don't know anything. I get it. Look, guys, this is just what I'm talking about right here. Like I said, check out the events leaderboard. Let me know what you think. And as always, I can't wait for more golf.